in these style of superhero genre shows or something, she probably dies.
Switch, you've been matted. I gotta workshop that out.
Okay, yeah, work on that one. Hey, Liternets. It's Paul, it's Matt.
What's up, Tomcats?
The Dork Lords. We are here talking about Time Cats. No, Legion, Season 3, Episode 4, Chapter 23.
Yes.
And right off the bat, best line from this episode, I say somewhat mockingly, but actually it's the one that stands out and it made me laugh and I liked it, is David talking to Switch. Okay, in the future, if there's time demons, tell me about the time demons. That was good. I liked it. I'm frustrated with you, but I'm gonna say it in a nice way. But yeah, maybe it would have been worth mentioning. When we go into that place, there's demons. Oh, great! Thanks for telling us now. Anyway, that was funny.
Yeah, so that makes me want to go back though, because I feel like we knew there was something going on. There was something, and who had she told if not him? I think she told Farouk.
Yes.
Yeah.
And she was listening on her headphones, so like her father figure, somebody was telling her.
Yeah.
And then she was, but she didn't tell David.
Nah.
Anyway. So yeah, they're time demons, time eaters. I think we call them time cats.
Why not?
She does say that they're like blue cats.
Yes.
So that's what we're going to call them, time cats, for this recap.
Sure.
So yes, time cats show up. See, that was the other thing was, originally when she's listening on the headphones and it's telling her all the rules of time travel, I got the impression it was a single time demon. You'll awake the demon.
Oh,
the
yes,
demon.
that's true.
And it wasn't like the demons...
Yeah, true.
But it's like a whole passel of them.
Yeah.
She calls them like wasps.
So maybe there's also a demon.
Oh, you think on top of time cats there's
maybe,
a time demon?
Maybe.
I think this is probably what it was referring to, but maybe
right.
there's like a giant, there's a lord, the king of the time cats.
Who knows?
Tomcat. Got a little vibe, I mean, this is maybe a bit of a stretch, but a little bit, because there's this whole Alice in Wonderland thing.
Sure.
Kind of Cheshire Catty-ish. They can like disappear. They're grinning and giggling all the time.
True.
But they don't really look exactly like cats.
No, they really actually don't look like
I've heard them described as like looking like the blue meanies from the Yellow Submarine.
Yeah, they kind of like that. Black meanies.
Time cats. That's what we're going with. Thundercats. Different show. Okay. A little disappointed that we have dispensed, at least for now, with Professor X. It was like, we saw him in the past and we're done.
Yep.
Like,
Yeah, right. Is he alive still?
Right.
We don't know
he
anything
could be
about him.
Like, is he noticing that time has been, like, totally screwed up?
Well, they don't even talk about the X-Men.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's great.
in broad terms, we see the ramifications of David attempting to go back in time last episode and fix himself. It attracts the attention of the Time Cats. And then the Time Cats start screwing with time, but also with our different characters.
Your turn to play bad cop?
Nah. Good cop and bad cop left for the day.
And this is definitely a it's all in his head style episode.
Sure.
Because there's a lot of it's not actually real moments, which I would say are David and his mom, Sid and her younger self.
Right.
And
even now, though, not all, unless Sid talking to herself was all in David's head.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Was it in her head, or was it in David's head, imagining what Sid might have to do?
It wasn't.
Good point. But yes, it was all in her head. Okay.
All of it.
Okay. So they wreak havoc. Farouk seems to have some knowledge about our time cats, and so it says, they're like termites, and if you think of time as like a block of wood, they're eating the wood, and so they're removing time. They're eating time.
Yeah. And his power is not even enough to dispel them, right? Because he slashes one, which doesn't really seem to do anything.
Correct. So, but his advice is we need to go to the time between time. That's where they live, and then their powers will be less accentuated, and we can fight them on equal footing. And so he and Clark and Kari with a K go to the Instagram world. It's like a Valencia, maybe a Nashville setting. I'm trying to think of what setting on Instagram that is, but it looked cool. But anyway, all right. And so it's like a series of still images, and it's like a silent movie. You just see the text. They can't actually talk.
Yeah, that was interesting as the battle progressed. That you got shorter intervals in between each.
Oh, good
image.
point. I didn't think about that. Yeah. Because they go camping. Like they're there for a while. They make a tent. They've killed some creature, and
they don't want to. Not one
Clark
of them
doesn't want to
have.
eat.
No,
He's like, no. That's fine. But yeah, their whole purpose about being there and fighting them on their terms in the giant mailbox that is where they live apparently, really doesn't know that. I think they were in trouble because really what ends up saving the day is David.
Oh.
David does the
yes.
Oh wait, I am God, and then he bamps out one of the time cats and tells the remaining one, "Go tell the others. I'll either kill you all if you don't leave." And so that's when they all leave the various realities.
Right.
So
it's unfortunate that the time cats could not communicate effectively because they might have been like, "Do you want us really, every one of us? Because you don't like them."
Yeah, good point. We could do some work for you.
Yeah, it's like we can stop bothering you, but.
But it also occurred to me that maybe in that time between times, that then Farouk's like, "See, told you guys, I did it. That was me. That was all me. I take credit." I don't know. Anyway, so. The big reveal, obviously, for David, at least at the end, is during all the madness of the Time Cats, Kari with a C got his senses back. Like, was it Time Cat poo? That he was like, it was like some blue goo that had been left over from a Time Cat. I don't. Anyway, that's what seems to be what gives him his senses back.
It seems to me that he says it's because of the. Them eating time that does it.
Okay, because he's like playing with some blue.
Maybe
gunk.
Yeah,
I don't know what was the blue.
That could be
the blue goo.
really. Maybe if they're eating time, maybe that's the result.
They're pooping time waste.
Yes,
wasted time. So in any case, however it works, the part of the side effects of Time Cats is that it frees Kari with a C from his mind control. And he then realizes, oh yeah, the whole reason I was sent, in the first place, our mission was to try to get Switch away from David. He finds Switch. He's like, I'm here to rescue you. She's in the middle of a Time Cat attack, so she's like, I'll go with you. And so when David then returns at the end, having been his god powers, he realizes Switch is now at D3, and then his one word reply to that is war.
Was that their objective though? Because I feel like, I guess it was either Switch or they would have settled for.
Good point. They were trying to capture Lenny to maybe get info.
Yeah.
And then it was all a trap to lure them out in the woods.
Yeah.
To kidnap Kari. Good point. But I mean, Kari was aware that there's a time traveler.
Yeah.
And that's what we need to. That's David's.
I feel like he was. I mean, his motivation may have been purely, you're somebody who's not, perhaps as much in David's thrall, and certainly David was saying in that episode that he hadn't really yet used his powers of persuasion yet on her.
Yeah, he says I can force you to do this.
Yeah,
which maybe wouldn't necessarily sit well with her. Perhaps I don't know. She's losing more teeth. She's like, all of my teeth are loose now.
She's bleeding profusely.
So now she is with D3. Which kind of fulfills the little question that Clark's husband had, which is, why don't we have a time traveler? Well, they've got one now, which seems bad for David. Like he was being killed fairly regularly, although then being brought back in time when he had a time traveler. Well, imagine if not only does he not have a time traveler, but the other side has one. I mean, yikes! Like Farouk with a time traveler.
I hadn't even thought about that. How they might begin to use it. I still haven't seen the scenes from next week, so you didn't get a sense of that, though, did you?
No, I did. What appears to be from next week is I got the feeling that David is on the offensive, that he maybe goes to the blimp and is attacking, perhaps. And there are still time jumps, and we do see a shot of one of the time cats. So the time cats are still relevant, unless it's a flashback or something. Which time in itself, I don't know. So it's anyway. he's still trying to do the time thing. And there's a conversation he ends up having with Sid, which tells me that they're meeting up for some reason, which is probably maybe during his attack on the blimp or something. But so it may be a situation where they haven't had time yet, so to speak, to
utilize the time.
Our
traveler.
time traveler. Yeah. Anyway, we'll see.
Yeah,
If you guys have a thought on what
how
the
would
next
they
episode brings.
do that then? What would their objective be? When would they be stopping him?
Do they
Because
go
one
back in time to
option
do it,
is
or-
to kill Hitler. So when he's a baby.
Sure.
So that's an option. Although, is that something that Farouk would be down with? Right? Because would that
He
give
kind
him?
of used David to gain his own power, or at least maintain power during that time when he was maybe vulnerable. So maybe it's just more of a, hey, we've taken away his ace in the hole.
It could be.
And then we can use her for like maybe minor jumps if something bad happens. Like, oh shoot, he just did something bad. Can we just go back 5 minutes? Great. All right, everybody go left. I don't know, something like that maybe.
Yeah, maybe. I'm just my head. I'm just going through. Yeah, I can't think of what they would do in the past to go after David.
That wouldn't affect Farouk in some way, you're saying? In
Yeah,
other words?
right, exactly. Unless they went back in the past to help Farouk win earlier.
Oh, good point. Just erase David's personality entirely.
It's like, when he was, when they rescued him in the insane asylum before he really knew he had powers. That would be a time to,
Right, just keep him thinking he's insane.
Yeah.
Although it's still dangerous then, because he actually has the powers. He just said no.
Yeah, but he doesn't know him, so
Like here, he's kind of accepted the fact. He's like, I am the Alpha and the Omega. I am God, and so like he's willing to use those powers.
Yes.
There's that moment actually when we'll talk about Lenny and her kind of tragic time cat experience, but she's had this thing of seeing her kid grow up and die, and there's kind of an interesting moment there where David comes up, sees that she's in pain. He's like, do you want me to... He asks.
Yes.
He doesn't just go, "Bum."
Yep.
He's like, you want me to take it on? I can
Yep.
take it away. She's
Yep.
like, no. I need to have this pain. I need to keep these memories.
Yeah, it's an interesting choice since, we sort of talked through it and thought, yeah, that's not something that really occurred. So it's interesting that she wants the trauma.
She wants the trauma of a thing that didn't actually happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, good point. So
right, because even though she had the time cat experience, and we saw her wife or the mother of her
right,
baby mama
Salmon.
there. We saw Salmon, and then I don't feel like we saw Salmon afterwards. But
True.
if it didn't happen, then Salmon is someplace there we just haven't seen.
Right. It's not a. I guess you could make the argument that perhaps in some weird way it did happen. I think it's more likely it did not
Yes,
happen.
I think that's true. It just makes me wonder because you can imagine the importance, not imagine, but we feel as if the importance for David for having the time cat experience was, getting another sense of his relationship to his mother and what he's trying to do. And also himself, too, in terms of further exploration of whether or not he's crazy. But for Sid, it was an interesting sort of, reconnection with her in terms of what she's trying to do and trying to further come to grips with what happened with David and what her, using her powers throughout her life is. But with, Lenny, I'm not really sure what all that means.
All right, well, let's talk about these three events since these are kind of the meat and potatoes of this episode.
Yeah.
So one of the things I think that goes across the board is I went back for a second viewing, and I was trying to look specifically to see if any of the other in their visions. So in other words, for Sid, young Sid.
Yes.
For David, his mom.
Right.
For Lenny, her daughter.
Right.
If any of them provide any new information.
Right.
Or is it stuff that just already is in their heads
Sure.
that's just being put into another voice?
Right.
And I kind of feel like it's just, I don't know that any new information came about. Like, for instance, when David's talking to his mom, he's like, where are we? I mean, I don't know where you grew up. And she's like, oh, we just grew up everywhere. We were gypsies.
Yeah.
Like, what time is this? Oh, it's the end of times. It's like, she's not telling him info.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
And so I kind of feel like Same thing with Sid. Her younger self is just telling her stuff she already knows.
Right.
Oh, that's right. It's my
Where
first
are
actual
you
experience.
in my life that I know all the events of?
Yeah. So I feel like, as we know from the fact that young Sid, when she hugs older Sid, turns into creature or whatever,
Right.
a time cat, and then we see the little frozen Cheshire cat expression on David's mom's face.
Yes.
The implication is these are time cats playing an illusion. They didn't put him back in time into a jail cell
Right.
next to his mom.
Right.
So these are just them having these cathartic moments with themselves.
Right.
Now, to what end, I'm not exactly sure. Like what do the time cats get out of that?
Right. Well, I mean, what time cat's getting at that, I don't know. But I think we're fairly clear about what David and Sid were getting out of it. But what did
Well, one of the main things that kept
Lenny get out of hers?
Well, so
Why is that important to her?
I think there's a sense that she wants to be a mom. I mean,
Okay.
she's excited about this kid in the
Okay.
beginning, right? When she's talking with Sam,
Right.
she's like, "Oh,
Right.
and we'll name it Violet Violets."
Okay.
And then we're gonna run away. She's kind of
Right.
like, I'm gonna separate from David,
Right.
And we're gonna have a family,
Right, yeah, that's what she said. I'm going to give my 2 weeks notice.
yeah. And then I'm gonna go have a family. And so one of the things that keeps happening, especially right at the end when the daughter has grown up and is dying, she says, "You were always there for me.
Right.
Like you were a good mom."
Right.
I think that's what she wants. She wants
Okay.
to be like, I want to be a good parent who's there for their kid and then have these loving relationship. And she gets that in a sense.
All right. It could be as simple as that.
Do we feel like in the second watch, and I said this way, I had a different opinion in my two watches. First watch, I thought she was actually living every second of that time, and that she had lived 80 years or something with this kid who grew up to be a parent.
Yes.
In my second watch, because she looks so unsettled whenever the switches,
yes.
I was thinking, oh, maybe she's not actually living that time, and that she's just seeing this in the same,
Right. I mean, one of the things I would have paid attention to watching it again is that clock that's right behind them, right? Because, it's like the clock was in a different position.
Which, by the way, in the in-between times, I noticed that the sun is a clock.
Ah.
Anyway, but okay. Yeah. So, I guess in some ways it doesn't matter in terms of. I just thought it would matter in terms of the way that because she breaks down, right? I mean, she's just sobbing and yelling, and it would be more so, I would think, if she actually lived every second of that time, as opposed to, I don't know, who the hell are you? Kind of a
Maybe.
But it's obviously incredibly effective to her. Maybe the idea is the time cats are trying to create these really powerful emotional moments that will devastate their opponent. And then, that way make them easier to defeat, perhaps. I don't know. What do you guys think out there? Time cats, what is their goal in, let's say, pretending to be young Sid and, I want to hug you. Are they getting something out of the exchange? Or is it just the ultimate goal is I need to hug you, now I'm hugging you? In other words, during that time when they're having an emotional exchange, are they eating time? And so they're like, oh, great. This is, while I waste your time, I'm also eating your time.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway. For David, he's talking to the time cat version of his mom. And there's that bit there where she says, he says this isn't about saving the world. This is about saving me.
Yes.
And she says, "Oh, you're crazy too."
Yeah.
And he's like, "No, no, you're not crazy. I'm not crazy."
Yes.
Just remember, he tries to give the warning. Hey.
Yes.
Don't let Professor X. Don't let your hubby leave. He's gonna want to go on a trip. Don't let him go. Yeah. He does say David, little baby David. She's like, I've always liked that name.
Yes.
But then again, if it's just in his mind, it's just him talking to himself.
Yeah.
But he has an interesting discussion with himself.
Yes.
In the guise of his mom.
Yes.
Sid has a talk with her younger self, and it's a topic we brought up last week, which was about that moment when she pretended to be her mom in order to have sex with her mom's boyfriend.
Yes.
And so we see that cast again here with the younger version of herself has already had that experience,
Right.
and is basically saying, "Oh, I thought sex was supposed to be this beautiful thing, and it's not.
Right.
And I've never had sex again, and as far as I know, 15-year-old me, I never will." And so it's older Sid's like, "No, it can be beautiful. You're going to fall in love, and that's going to be worth it."
Yeah.
And then there's the inevitable follow-up. "Oh, really? So did you get married?
And to have kids? It's complicated.
She has this nice cathartic moment there with her younger self, telling her younger self, it's going to be all right. Although, again, it's another reason why it's almost certainly in her head.
Yeah. Because
she's telling her younger, she's changing the timeline in some ways by giving this information. Anyway, it's in her head.
Even more so than David, wherein he saw something that was strange about his mother, and then turned around, and then the two people who were basically complete strangers to him sort of got him.
Same smile.
Right. This case, she was hugging and couldn't get away.
Right.
And then it was like, so
you've been trapped.
Yeah.
And so, again, she was so specific too. I mean, she didn't call him David, but she's like, "Oh, he has powers, but he's unstable."
Yep.
I'm like, you figure that out.
Yep.
When you get a little bit older,
yes.
You're gonna be like, "Oh, it's you."
Yeah.
Death prediction.
Whoa.
I try to do like a death prediction for each series, like each season, and I was a little slow in this one.
He does it with the people we know.
I was still, yeah, exactly. You're probably gonna die. I don't know why I don't have more friends. But I'm still not. I'm not 100% sold that David's gonna die. I think that's a reasonable prediction.
Right.
But I feel fairly strong that Switch not going to survive these 4 episodes. One way or another, I think her powers have to go away. So maybe just all her teeth fall out and she turns into like a husk of a human being and can't do time travel anymore. But I think it's probably in these style of superhero genre shows or something, she probably dies.
Switch, you've been matted. I got to workshop that.
Okay, yeah, work on that one. Here's a weird theory. Time cats.
Yes.
We're not exactly sure what they are. They have fairly strong powers, frankly.
Yeah.
Undefined almost, but like,
right.
Oh yeah, we go through time. Farouk knows a hell of a lot about them. Knows where they live.
Yes.
Is it possible maybe he originated as a time cat?
Yeah, I was thinking that too.
They're predators around the astral plane. I don't know. Anyway.
That's an interesting idea, although, I don't feel like he has the characteristics, though. Unless you count
he doesn't do that giggle.
Yes, he doesn't do the giggle. Unless you count the eating of powers, I guess, is something that apparently he does. That's similar to eating of time, maybe. So it's interesting that he knows about them.
Maybe they're cousins.
Because I feel like he didn't know about, or at least he was telling, when he was talking to Switch in the other episode, he was like, "Oh, so there's somebody," it's like he didn't seem to know.
Because I was convinced that he was the time demon in that moment.
Right, that's yes. Or at least in terms from her perspective, although she didn't claim that he was the demon. She was like, "You are robots." So she didn't think, and I don't feel as if she thinks that the demon she was talking about is a robot.
I agree.
So, again, it's another question, right? Whether or not the demon she was talking about are these time cats the demons? She was plural.
Yeah. I feel like they are, and they just, for whatever reason, are glossing over the fact that it was singular and now it's plural. But
okay.
Maybe I'm wrong.
Could be. Yeah. And I guess it's possible too. Just because we see them as multiples, maybe they could be one entity.
Yeah, it could be one entity splitting itself up.
Yeah,
agreed. I thought about that too. Tanami, he's let's see, where he's controlling things, and then the time code is split, so he senses the fact that time is fractured, and then that kind of shuts the machine down. And he notices one of the things is that his mustache is no longer perfectly trimmed. That's how time went awry, and they screwed up his mustache. Damn you, time cats.
The enemy of style.
Those are the big beats. I mean, I know
Yeah.
we're missing some stuff, but generally, any other thoughts you had on the Jan episode? Cool visuals again.
Oh, yeah.
The show is just amazingly creative on the visuals. Not just the in between worlds, which was pretty sweet,
Right.
but just in general, the visuals are always outstanding.
Yeah.
Outstanding again. We're done with episode 4.
Yep, we're done.
Only 4 episodes left.
That's all.
And
That's it.
this
Then
whole
it's-
thing
then
ends.
it's
So
done.
let us know what you think about these last 4 episodes. Who's going to die? for
Yes,
instance?
that's all David.
That's all
That's all
matters.
Matt cares about.
That's all David cares about too, probably.
That's right.
The Alpha and Omega.
Yes.
Anyway, thanks everybody, and we'll be back talking about episode 5 and all kinds of other goofy things here on Dork Lords. Bye everybody.